Bo, welcome to the podcast. Lately, I've been talking to successful local entrepreneurs, small business people, and people who've grown up in Dayton or who've moved to Dayton and have found a lot of success here. Not being originally from Dayton myself, I've always been intrigued with how much infrastructure is here, and things like art museums, and there's so many signs of great wealth.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that all the history shows that there was a lot of great wealth in Dayton for a long time because of all the innovation, but things have changed. And just since I've been in the Miami Valley, when I first came here, the truck plant, the General Motors plant, had 3 shifts a day.
Gone, yeah.
And it's gone, and now it's a fraction of the size, and it's a Chinese glass manufacturer.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the Delphi plants are gone, the Ford plants.
NCI.
NCR is gone, Mead's
Mead,
gone. Yeah. A lot of the companies have changed hands or been bought up, or they're a fraction of their size. Standard Register
Mm-hmm.
is no longer the same hands or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But so I just thought that today maybe we could talk if you had some opportunity to kind of share your personal history with Dayton, having grown up here. Where did you grow up in Dayton?
Grew up in Dayton in Oakwood, and my family, my grandfather and father had a company here in town. Started in 1928, and they were quite large, 1,500 employees at one time.
Yeah.
And like other companies, they went out of business. They went out of business in the late 70s.
That's still a long time to run.
Long time in business.
Yeah.
Right.
What was it like growing up in Dayton or in Oakwood at that time? Because that's when.
Everybody was pretty successful.
Yeah.
Because there were a lot of jobs here in town, and we all went to public school, at least in elementary, and walked to school. Knew everybody.
Dayton's still kind of like that. I mean,
Yeah, it's a small town, relatively speaking to Cincinnati or something like that.
Yeah.
I still enjoy it here. It's a nice town to, I always say it's a nice town to come back to.
Yeah, absolutely. Easy
Yeah.
to live here.
Yeah.
What company was your family company? What did they do?
It was called Dyna Corporation, and they made electric motors and grinders. They sold the first electric motor to W.W. Granger. I don't know. W.W. Granger is a big catalog industrial.
You see them on the freeways everywhere.
Yeah.
If you need.
And we sold them the first electric motors. They made a ton of grinders for the Army back in the war. The motors were used to raise and lower guns on battleships.
Oh, wow.
Back then.
Big motors.
Then they got away a little bit from the motor business and made garage door openers. They're one of the first ones in the country to have electric garage door openers. And that was pretty successful.
Yeah. Was that the first, who started that? Your grandfather or great-grandfather?
Yes, my grandfather.
Grandfather?
Yeah.
What did he do before that?
My grandfather, he was always he started that company in 1929. Said, I don't know what he was doing prior to that. I know
Was he a background in engineering, or was he?
He was an engineer.
Okay.
But he was really, really good at sales. And my father was the engineer. He went to Princeton, graduated first in his class in engineering, and right from school he went to work for his father.
Yeah.
Whether he liked that or not, I'm not sure. That's what happened.
Yeah. And so you worked right after school too?
I did. And
what'd you do at the?
I was not an engineer. I wasn't in sales. I was basically doing accounting. doing the books,
Yeah.
so to speak.
And had you always wanted to do that, or was it just
It
expected?
was just something that when I went to college, I got a degree in finance, and I probably already knew that I was going to be working in the family business. Why not?
Yeah.
It's there, and so that's really what I thought my calling was, and it didn't work out that way.
Yeah. Well, was it while you were working in the family business? Was it easy?
Easy.
I mean, getting along
It was.
Did you report directly to
I
family
didn't.
members, or?
In a way, I did.
Yeah.
Because you always saw them doing, sometime at home or whatever. But I always had a different type of boss or whatever. They made sure of that. But it is kind of hard. Family business is hard. My brother was working there as well.
Older or younger?
Younger. I mean, older, excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he got mad and left after so many years. He couldn't take it.
With your father?
But I
with your
stayed at the
grandfather?
end until the company went,
Yeah.
was sold.
Sold, and then what happened to it after that?
The company was sold. The reason it was sold is the money was used to pay back taxes. Because of my grandfather owned 100% of the company
Yeah.
when he died, and he wouldn't share, or he wouldn't look at financial planning or buy insurance or whatever was needed. So those were different times.
Different times, and you think he didn't see the value in it, or couldn't convince him, or old
No,
school in some way?
I had no idea that they didn't have any plans for the future, and they didn't talk to me about it. And for that matter, my grandfather and father didn't talk to each other about it either.
Yeah.
So, and then he died. I think he died when he was 87, and that was in late 70s. So the company struggled. We had to sell piece by piece, or sections at a time,
Yeah.
to satisfy, and finally there wasn't anything left.
So it wasn't like an immediate end.
It happened
was
over a
kind
couple of years.
Okay. So as that time's coming, and was there a point where it became clear that you were going to have to do something else?
If it was, I didn't want to think about it.
Yeah.
Because I had 4 children, and had a house, had an income coming in, and I thought we could pull it off, or pull it out.
Yeah.
And then one day it just gone.
What do you do the next day?
Pray a lot.
Yeah.
Started looking for a job, and I couldn't find one for a while. So I had a mortgage, and so we sold the house, and we moved in with my mom and dad.
What'd he do? Was he ready to retire anyway, or?
He was retired,
Okay.
and he at that time they had a place in Florida, so we didn't get to see each other for 6 months out of the year. So he would go down to Florida for 6 months and then come back up here in the summer.
But
And
with 4
so we
kids,
stayed there for 2 years.
Yeah, that probably helped a little bit.
Yeah.
4 kids.
Yeah.
And did you tell me one time that was in at Moraine? Is that in Kettering?
The house?
The house, yeah.
Yes. They lived in Oakwood and then moved out to Kettering.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too far. Did you
By
have to
Moraine Country Club.
pull the kids out of school, or were they able to stay in?
All the kids were young. They were preschool.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
There was Amy, yeah, they were all within 2 years of each
Like,
other.
you probably couldn't breathe. I mean, I wouldn't.
We had a couple, young ones in diapers.
Yeah. So what do? You go right to you can't find a job, and
Well, I mean, I tried to sell, work for somebody who sold us things at the company, castings, metal castings.
yeah.
And so I tried to do that type of business, and I wasn't cut out for that.
Is that sales? You tried to do sales then?
It was sales and manufacturing.
Okay.
And so at the time, we had a private foundation called, it was named after my grandfather, called the Stephen Brown Foundation. And my dad and I would manage that, or manage the money for the foundation.
Yeah.
By managing, I mean, we would make recommendations on what to buy and what to sell as far as securities go.
Right.
So that was my introduction to investments, and we did that as a hobby.
Yeah.
So I thought it would be kind of nice to maybe be a stockbroker. So I went out looking for that type of job, and probably after a year of unemployment, and couldn't find one either. Until
No jobs offered, or no one would hire you?
No one would hire me. I have a hearing loss, and back then in the 80s, phone was very important.
Yeah.
And for me, and phone and selling wasn't going to cut the mustard. So they said it wouldn't work until somebody. I knocked on the doors, and somebody said, "Well, you can have a desk, and you can go out and get your own license, pay for it, do your own training, and if you sell some things back then, we would split it." And that's how I started. Totally opposite of what you should do.
Yeah.
So you should work for somebody like a Merrill Lynch or one, and they would train you and pay you at the same time. So that was difficult. Took me about 10 years of work to start getting on the plus side, getting in the black. I borrowed a lot of money back then to
Survive.
survive. Yeah.
Food on the table, and
Yeah.
kids in the clothes and all that.
Yeah.
What was it like at home during that period of time? I mean, you come home, the wolf's knocking at the door.
Well, Mom and Dad's at that time. I was there for about 2 years. That wasn't a happy time. We finally got enough
But I mean,
together to get a house.
Yeah.
Those were tough. I mean, I wouldn't come home till late.
So your wife's got the kids.
So you had the kids, and
All four
I
of them,
started
and-
working, and
yeah.
we made it work. Yeah.
How do you get through something like that?
Quite frankly, I have no idea. I just did it.
No choice. Just
No,
do it.
no choice, and if I knew what I was going through before, I don't know if I would have done it. It was tough.
Well,
You
what
just do
else?
it, you just-
What else would you do?
You just do it because you have the 4 kids and your back is to the wall. You got to do something. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just make it work.
What would you say is the biggest lesson out of that? I mean, obviously it wasn't a planned lesson. You didn't go seeking it out, but
Don't give up, I guess.
yeah.
For me.
And where do you get that from, or how does that work? I mean, obviously some people do give up and some people don't. How do you? Did you have any personal action plan, or today people they're all the motivational sayings and the books and the gurus and all that, but I can imagine it's either you do it or you don't do it.
Yeah, I guess it's pride maybe or whatever. I mean, your back is against the wall, and you do it or you sink. No, I didn't want to sink.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It makes sense. I really, it makes me think that, you see so many people these days. It's been very popular for a long time now for people to have mantras and sayings every day, and they have the things in the door. I mean, was there anything like that? Were there any books that you were reading, or?
You can see in my office here, there's a lot of books, but they came later.
Yeah.
I didn't have time for the books.
Yeah, and maybe that's my point, is that I think a lot of people can trick themselves and put themselves into a state where they feel like they're getting something done because they're getting the emotional
Right, but
energy
they're not doing
from
it.
all of the mantras and the reading, and now you can watch YouTube.
Simply
and-
doing it, really, is what the big It's a
Yeah.
big deal.
So sitting and watching YouTube videos of just do it and all of the motivational stuff doesn't replace
No.
shoe leather.
They got to go out and perform.
So speaking of shoe leather, if you can't use the phone, you're knocking on doors. Is that how that worked, or?
Well, today I can use the
Well,
phone,
yeah.
by the way,
Right.
because I have a Bluetooth,
Okay.
and it goes directly to my hearing aid, which is fabulous.
Yeah.
And
Technology.
so technology, and so the phone it works most of the time. Back then I would just go knocking on doors, asking anything, and then after a few years, I learned that getting in front of more people or a crowd was easier than going one-on-one. So I started doing seminars or chicken dinners, if you may,
Yeah.
and tried to build my business by that way. Yeah, and I did that for 10 years.
Was that something that was prescribed by the company or by the broker you worked for?
No, I thought of it.
Okay. What would that
Because
look like?
I was going out getting, talking to people on one-on-one basis. But I do know from talking to other people in this business, that they would go out and talk to a group of people, and maybe they get 2 or 3 people interested.
So it's much faster.
Leverage, yes.
Yeah.
So that's what I did.
If you could redo that period of time, is there anything you'd do differently? Like if you could revisit that time, or if you knew a little bit of what you know now,
Yeah.
other than not wanting to go through it again, but would you approach it any differently?
Doing the seminars was great.
Yeah.
For a while. But then it got to be the same people coming in, and it wasn't the type of people I was looking for as clients. So there was a lot of money wasted, but you just had to go through the motions and figure it out yourself. Yeah.
Well, kind of coming back to Dayton, what's Dayton like now, or what's this market like now?
As you said, Dayton was had a lot of money, and they still do, but it's old money, and Dayton is changing. It's getting older. The new people coming in are mostly in technology. We have a great employer here, Wright Pat, and they bring in a lot of research. So I think that's the next thing in Dayton is technology and service-oriented type businesses. But it won't be not like it used to be in manufacturing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of manufacturing.
Back then. Yeah.
Where do you think, so do you think Dayton's going more tech in the future, and
I
where do you
I
see
would think so.
yourself with all that? I mean, obviously you're not the type that is ready for retirement, or
Well, I'm going to
looking to
still be
retire.
doing what I'm doing,
Yeah.
financial planning, and hopefully there'll always be a
is
need
it
for investment
easier
in
now
financial
with
planning.
new people, or is it harder now with the
With
younger
people?
generation? Yeah.
That's a very good question. Our clientele is average age is probably 60, and a lot of them see the value in having someone else do the investment in financial planning. The young generation, what do you call them,
Millennials, yeah.
millennials, they tend not to trust anybody. They love computers or love iPhones or whatever.
Yeah.
And internet, they can get a lot of information. So they're hard to get. They can do it themselves, or think that they can do it themselves.
Yeah.
So
But they have yet to mature and
Right, and
You know, I think all
they
young
don't have the
people-
money yet, but,
Yeah, all of us when we were younger thought we knew more than
right.
we did.
But I still think there'll be a need for
Yeah.
what we do.
All right, well, thanks for
Thank
being
you.
on the podcast, and I'm sure we'll have you back soon.
Good. Oh.
Yeah.